to listen to the Lapped Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 252 post-Olympics of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor Brandon Crowd. Hope you all are doing fantastic. I've missed you guys. I am so excited to be back. It's MIS month. Yes, you guys know what MIS, how important that race, that track is to me. And I like to do things big around MIS. So it's MIS month and dedication, if you will. The month of August. Got a huge show lined up tonight. Tease a couple things. MIS track president Rick Brenner is going to be on. The title sponsor FireKeepers. I've got Jim Wise from FireKeepers. Next week, Jeff Striegel's going to preview MIS, and then he'll be back the following week to talk about it. There's so much going on. I'm so excited to kind of have a dedication to MIS. Cannot wait to hopefully one day in the future, being able to do the live show from there like I used to do for so many years. So all good things. Yes. And I am so excited to be back with you guys. You know, it's kind of weird. You know, you don't Tuesday, creature of habit for me, right? Like, okay, hit this button, do this, do that at around 6 o'clock, whatever the case may be. And of course, I forgot to make my mic hot, so I'm talking for a minute. So this is take 2, and I forgot to, all these kinds of things. So here we are, ready to roll, all that good stuff. We're 13 winners in 23 races with 3 races to go in the regular season. Can you imagine? We've talked about it all year, right? Like, oh, Denny Hamlin's got to get a win, Going into the year, we assumed Kevin Harvick would have multiple wins. That's 2 right there. Could you imagine if those 2 got wins over these last 3 races? And I mean, hey, Denny could win at Daytona. A number of handful wild cards could win at Daytona. Could you imagine if we finally hit that 16 win mark? It's a tall order, I know, but hey, it's fun to talk about. So, all right, before I get going, don't forget that this week's show is brought to you by Angry Brew. Roast the competition, be the first to the finish line with Angry Brew. Angry Brew is a massively caffeinated, amazing tasting, high-octane, power-packed fuel to get you to the finish line each and every race weekend and your Monday to Fridays. So when you need a power-up, reach for Angry Brew, coffee with a punch, and use code LAPPED, L-A-P-P-E-D, get 10% off at checkout. Man, what'd you guys do over these last 2 weeks? Did you watch the Olympics? Did you watch something the significant other's been begging you to watch, but you got to have the race on, so you don't? I will tell you, these couple of weeks enjoyed some relaxing time from social media. Not that I don't love it, but hey, it gets to be a bear, so it was nice to kind of have a skeleton presence, if you will, out there. Did send out a bunch of new koozies that are limited edition and started to see a bunch of tweets with those, which is awesome. I got in a lot of golf over these last couple weekends, which has been awesome. Smoked some meat, as you guys know, all that good stuff. So I've enjoyed it, but I am ready to close this thing out strong this season, that's for sure. So as I kind of mentioned, I've got MIS FireKeepers. However, I also have Austin Hill for you guys this week. That's right, your truck winner from Watkins Glen. I've got Anthony Alfredo to talk to tonight, and there's even going to be a special appearance by CJ Woliver during the fantasy segment. So like I said, I was coming out strong out of the gate. So I'm ready to go. Of course, got the recaps and some discussion points from Watkins Glen, all that good stuff. Neudorff will be on with the weather a little later. LuckyDogs, lap down, and fantasy to close it out. So let's get this thing rolling. Let's kick things off. Let's get Rick Brenner from MIS on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his 11th appearance on the Lap Traffic Podcast. He's the track president for my hometown track, one of the fastest, if not the fastest tracks in NASCAR. Welcome back to the show, Rick Brenner. Rick, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm excited. It's MIS month, and soon we're going to be saying it's MIS weekend, and soon it'll be race weekend, man. I'm so excited. How are things with you? How's everybody at the track?
Well, we're in preparation mode, as you would imagine, and looking forward to just a fabulous weekend coming up here, August 20th through the 22nd. As you know, 3 great races: the Henry Ford Health System 200, the New Holland 250, and of course the FireKeepers Casino 400. So, super excited. We've got 3 great races at what we've dubbed NASCAR's most entertaining track. And the FireKeepers Casino, of course, is the highlight, but we've got a whole lot of great stuff planned for folks that want to come out and enjoy themselves.
That's awesome. You mentioned FireKeepers, longtime returning race sponsor for the Cup Series. Some new sponsors for the Xfinity and ARCA Series. Talk a little bit about those partnerships.
Well, New Holland's been a partner here for a long, long time, and it's been a great partner in our sport, and we're proud to welcome them to the Xfinity Series sponsorship entitlement with the New Holland 250. And Henry Ford Health System is a wonderful hospital here in Jackson, Michigan, and been a great partner for many, many years as well. They were actually on the ARCA race last year and returned to it again this year. So super excited to have 3 great partners join us to create a great and memorable experience for everybody who chooses to come out.
Absolutely. Rick, last year you and I talked before the unexpected MIS double, if you will. It was a lot more somber feeling at the track. Like, I was able to pull up, park right outside the elevator to get up to the press box, and I'm not supposed to be able to park that close. I'm not going to be able to park that close this year. What's the level of excitement like right now around the track, the surrounding area? Are people getting excited to know that race weekend's coming back?
Yeah, we are. We're excited to welcome our guests back. And, the races were great last year, but there's nothing like having fans in your building and having people here. And no race weekend's complete without our fans. And we're beyond excited to welcome them back to the races here after, 2 years. And, we have countless entertainment options for fans of all ages. We want to deliver that most entertaining weekend moniker and create things for people to do all weekend long. And I do want to let people know that tickets start at $49 for the FireKeepers Casino 400. There's a bunch of them left. If you are value conscious, I'd get on those sooner than later. Kids 12 and under are free on Friday and Saturday, and they're only $10 for kids 12 and under on Sunday. Kids also get a free pre-race pass to get down there up close on the pre-race events on Sunday, courtesy of Henry Ford Health System. So, tremendous value, tremendous opportunity, and a lot going on, and 3 awesome races to boot.
Absolutely. Rick, you and I've talked now this 11th time over the last 5 years. Each year you've got something new for the fans, whether it's camping, it's an upgrade somewhere at the track facility around the grandstands. What's something new that fans might see when they come out this year?
Well, we've got 2 new campgrounds that we opened this year. High Banks Campground, located just outside of Turn 3, has about, has a handful, 36 or so electric sites for people that want to come out if you need electric. And then also in Turn 4, we've got about 50 electric sites out there in our Turn 4 campground. Turn 4 is just a fabulous location. It's right next to the Fan Plaza, which of course is where the Saturday night concert will be this year, as well as tons of entertainment out there. And also an enhanced NASCAR Kids Zone on hand with bounce houses, and a free for the public. The Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum will be back again. Face painters, balloon artists, jugglers, frisbee dogs, strolling performers, stilt walkers, aerial acts, superstars, one of my perennial favorites. So got a whole lot going on for folks, and look forward to having everybody out.
Awesome. What are some of the concert lineups for this year?
That'll be announced later this week.
Ooh, all right. Okay. All right. Stay tuned to MIS Speedway on social media, everybody. There we go. I love it.
Stay tuned. Absolutely.
Rick, all right. So I got to throw this in here, and I know you really have no control over it, but this year, MIS, the Cup race, it's the second to last race of the regular season. MIS has hosted the last race of the regular season in the Truck Series a couple years. Do you think we might be able to move it a couple spots up and get a playoff race at some point here at MIS? I think the fans would go absolutely crazy about an MIS playoff race.
Yeah, that sounds great, but as you pointed out, don't really have any control over the schedule, and really, I mean, although I will say, this year's schedule with a lot of the additions and changes and stuff really has turned out to be a great season of racing for everyone, and we look forward. I certainly look forward to tuning into the playoffs when they start as well.
Absolutely.
So looking forward to it, and looking forward to a great race here, 3 great races here, again, August 20th through the 22nd.
Absolutely. Rick, you mentioned tickets. Where can everybody go to get the tickets?
Best place to go is mispeedway.com.
Excellent. And I'll tell you, I worked with a couple of guys. Rick, I'm actually bringing some friends out that are going to be there. It's the first time ever going to the track. Everyone that I talked to over at the ticket office was great, friendly, all that good stuff. So everybody, if you're more traditional, you want to call, you can call mispeedway.com. It's great. Come say hi. I can't wait to get out there. Rick, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for supporting the show in its 5th year, and I love the partnership with you guys. Cannot wait to get out there in a couple weeks, man.
Appreciate it. And if you're looking for that phone number, because you're right, you can call, or you can go to mispeedway.com, 888-905-7223 if you want to give a buzz, and look forward to having you. Remember, tickets start at $49. Kids 12 and under are free Friday, Saturday, and only $10 on Sunday with a free pre-race pass. So lots of great stuff coming, and really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you. Thank you.
Absolutely, Rick. Lap Traffic Nation, huge thanks to Rick Brenner for calling in. Rick, look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks, man.
Thanks, sir. Take care.
You too. We'll see you. Oh, Lap Traffic Nation, great to talk to Rick Brenner. Cannot wait to see him in a couple weeks out at the track. All right, let's keep things rolling. I want to talk a little bit about the Truck Series before I get Austin Hill on the line, because I'm going to let him talk about the race. Why not let the race winner talk about the race? I kind of want to just do a quick reset of how the truck playoffs are going to look up. That's right, playoffs, because Watkins Glen ended the regular season for the Truck Series. So, when you look at it, who's out? Who didn't make it? Well, Enfinger could have been in, should have been in. Obviously, know that he didn't run for the championship in the 98 with Thor Sport. So he would have been in from a points perspective, but missed it from that regard. Tyler Ankrum out, man. Tyler, breakthrough year for him. I know he had his win that rookie year, but I would say I think Tyler had a really good improvement this year. I think they had some really good races that isn't indicative on the finishes, but I think they had some great races, and I really hope he gets one more shot next year because, like I said, I think they had some just bad luck situations that would have resulted in a few more top 5s, top 3s. So hopefully they get one more shot. Deegan obviously didn't make the playoffs. Not a horrible year, not a great year. Mediocrity, right? In terms of that, but what expectations were high. But when you kind of reel it in a little bit in terms of what are realistic expectations, she's run outlaw modifieds, all that kind of stuff, to get into the truck, which is just such a different beast. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it's probably more or less realistic where she finished. I know there's talk about an Xfinity thing with her next year, and that just becomes the problem, right? I think we saw it with Danica. I think we've seen it before. We saw it with Natalie Decker. We just push through because the sponsorship money's there, and that only gets you so far if you don't have the experience behind you. So, I mean, man, I think it would be great if Deegan can get another couple years in the Truck Series, full-time, in a solid truck, before we're moving on to the Xfinity level full-time, and before we, let's step back. Let's stop rushing through. Let's let some performance happen. That's me. I digress. And also out, Johnny Sauter, right? Kind of saw the writing on the wall with this one. It started last year. Kind of had hope for a bounce back, and it's just not there. We saw this with Jimmy Johnson and Cup, who dominated the Cup Series, right? Sauter's dominated the Truck Series, him and Matt Crafton, kind of, our old school veteran scrappers in the Truck Series, and just hasn't been there. Johnny Sauter didn't forget how to drive a truck, and Jimmy Johnson didn't forget how to drive a cup car. But yet here these guys are just struggling, as talent around them develops. I really wonder what the future holds for Johnny Sauter in terms of on track, career. Is it going to wrap it up? We get one more year out of him. I'd like one more year. Let's see, because man, that's no way to finish a historic career in that series the way Sauter's had it the last 2 years. Now to the playoffs in general. Obviously, we got John Hunter up front, leading the charge with the playoff points. Austin Hill is right behind him in terms of standings. And, it's John Hunter and then it's half for basically, he's got 49 playoff points. Austin Hill, 21. Ben Rhodes with 19. Ben Rhodes started the season off so hot, picking up the first 2 wins of the season. Austin Hill picks up the last 2 wins of the regular season. And in between, it's been all John Hunter. So what will these next 7 playoff races in the Truck Series hold? The unfortunate part for me is I'm not a fan of 6 off weeks across these 7 races. When you think about it, it is August. And the Truck Series isn't going to be over until the other 2 series are in November. And that's when you look at it from that regard, we're talking all of September, all of October, half of August, and a weekend into November. That's almost 3 months to get in 7 races. As a fan, I don't like that. I'm going to ask Austin that and see what his take is on that. I'm curious to hear his response. So I'll stop rambling for a minute. I'll get the next one here. Let's get Austin Hill on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his 5th appearance on the Lap Traffic podcast. He picked up the win before the Olympic break in Knoxville, continued the momentum this past weekend, picking up the win at the Glen. Welcome back to the Lap Traffic podcast, Austin Hill. Austin, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back on with you guys.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, first of all, congrats, back-to-back wins. That's incredible. That's one hell of an accomplishment to be able to do that with that kind of a break in between there, and I'm excited to get to talk to you about that in a minute. But first, did you get to do anything fun over the Olympic break?
Yeah, we did. We went down to Myrtle Beach area and spent some time. I think we spent right at a week down at the beach with the wife and the kids. And other than that, it was just kind of normal stuff throughout the week. Going to the gym with Toyota and doing some TRD sim stuff. So, that 1 week that we kind of had some downtime, but other than that, it was all business. So we were getting geared up and getting ready for Watkins Glen. We wanted to be really for that. I've been wanting to win at a road course for a very long time, so it just showed how much preparation we had going into it.
That's awesome. All right, well, let's talk about Knoxville. It was over a month ago. That was an interesting race. Kind of became a little bit of a bleep show towards the end of it. If it's still in the memory bank, which I'm sure it is because it was a win, walk us through, the first half of that race and then what became just chaos towards the end there and how you survived it all.
Yeah, at the start of the race, I thought it was going to be, where you could run 2 lanes. I thought you were going to have the bottom lane, and I thought you were going to be able to run right up near the fence and have those 2 lanes. But it seemed like as we ran, that top lane started kind of going away. So everyone started funneling down to the bottom lane, and the bottom lane was where you wanted to be, and you did not want to come off of the bottom. You wanted to be wrapping right up on that berm. That berm kind of was your friend almost. You could use it to your advantage to help you turn if you were a little tight, stuff like that. So, throughout the race, as it got to the bottom, then that's where you started seeing guys putting the bumper to each other. And then that's where all the chaos came from at the end of the race. I think if that race would have played out like it was at the beginning of the race towards the end where you had those 2 lanes, it might not have been as crazy. But since everybody was fighting so hard to get to that bottom lane because it was so much more dominant at the end, I think that's kind of where you saw, that crazy stuff happen and the wrecks and that big pile up at the end. But somehow we were able to have that really good restart. I think it was like the second or third green, white, checkered attempt. We got a really good restart on the top lane, and coming off of turn 2, the caution just fell exactly where we needed it to, and we were scored as the leader. And I just knew as long as I could get through the gears good, if I could get down into turn one and not get jacked up from behind, that we felt like we had a good enough truck to possibly win. And, I come off of turn two, I look up in the mirror and I see them battling and I'm driving away. So it was a really cool feeling. And it was one of those places that I never thought I would win at a dirt track. I'm no dirt guy by no means. I don't claim to be. So to win at a place like that was really special.
That's incredible. That's a great story, man. I love that. All right, so we've done some dirt racing now, right? We've done Eldora, we've done Bristol, we've done Knoxville. Are you cool with it? 1 or 2 races a year? What can NASCAR maybe do better to improve the quality of the racing? Where are you at from the truck series as a whole running dirt?
Well, I thought that, whatever the dirt was that they brought to Knoxville, the dirt that they run at Knoxville, I thought that it worked really well for our race trucks. In the truck series, and you saw it even in the Cup race at Bristol, the dirt that they had and I don't know if it's the way they managed it. I don't know anything about how to manage the dirt at a dirt track, but it got very dusty, very dried out, and you couldn't see anything, and dirt would fly up on the windshield and you can't clean it off. You have to wait until you pit and pull a tear off. So the Bristol race was really frustrating for everyone, and then going into Knoxville, we didn't really know what to expect, and Knoxville did an awesome job of whatever dirt that they use needs to be used every time that we run on dirt. If we are going to continue to run on dirt in NASCAR, I think that type of dirt was really good dirt to use. You never saw it get dusty. You could see, and if it did fly up, it wasn't so bad that you couldn't see where you're going, stuff like that. And then as it hardened up, it's like the dirt hardened up and it rubbered up real, a lot. So it almost turned into sort of an asphalt race, but you could still kind of get in there and step it out and drive it sort of like a dirt car almost. But I think that if they're going to keep doing this, you got to have some type of dirt like how Knoxville had. I thought that was kind of the best scenario that we had.
Cool. All right. Knoxville dirt it is. All right. So this past weekend at the Glen, first time in 20 years the trucks have been there. You guys played some strategy towards the end of stage one, led to the win. You mentioned it earlier. You've been wanting that road course win. Talk about this past Saturday.
Yeah, going into the weekend, we knew that we were going to short pit both stages. It didn't matter if we were leading the race or not. The plan was to short pit both stages because we thought the track position was going to be big, and we thought that if you had that clean air, you could kind of control the race. So, going into it, that was kind of our plan all along. And then we were struggling in the first stage, fought really tight handling Tundra. It started getting really tight on me throughout the run, and I really had to start moving around a lot and use a lot more racetrack than I really wanted to. So, when we came down pit road, we had a really good pit stop. We made some really good adjustments and came back out. And to start stage two, I think we were fourth on that restart. And I kind of let the guys in front of me kind of use their stuff up a little bit, kind of use their tires up and everything. And then I just, from the adjustments we made, our long run speed was really good. At the end of stage two, we were able to drive up through there, get to the lead and control the race. And, we came down to short pit and pit road, had a really fast pit stop. And the guys did everything right. We made some more minor adjustments to make it that little bit better. And sure enough, everybody else behind us was trying to do the same thing in short pit. So we ended up winning that stage and getting the bonus points, which was great. And then to start the final stage, I knew that I needed to manage my tires and not really slip the rear tires too much and don't drive in the corner too deep and slip the front tires. So I felt like as long as I could get through turn one unscathed and nobody really jacked me up from behind or anything, and I could leave turn one and clear everybody, I thought that we had a good enough truck to be able to kind of manage the gap. And that's what we did. We kind of got a little bit of a gap on the Ford truck, and I just kind of listened to the spotter and I listened to the crew chief, and we just kind of managed that gap. I didn't want to just drive away from everybody because I didn't want to burn my stuff up. In case we did run the whole race, I wanted to still have some stuff left in the tank at the end. But then, obviously lightning struck, and just I've been through as a driver, is sitting there waiting around. It was, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes that you're waiting to hear the official news on if we're going back racing or not. And it felt like hours,
Sure.
I'm sitting there in the hauler. I'm looking at social media. I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs, not knowing what's going to happen. And, if all these scenarios are going in my head, because if we go back green, the intensity is going to ramp up. So the guys behind you are going to try to dive bomb in there and make it 3 wide probably. So how am I going to protect that line and all that? So I was glad that we didn't have to go back green, just because I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. With the guys behind, they were really wanting to try to get that win, obviously. So they're going to do everything it took on that restart to get around me, maybe jack me up a little bit. So it was nice to see that they called it, with the Xfinity race being right after. I think that was kind of a lot that played into it, but it happened the way that it did. And we felt like we had the best truck all day after stage 1 anyway. So we felt like the best truck won.
I can't argue that, man. All right, so I got to share this with you. So on my Facebook memories today, it popped up that 2 years ago to today, August 10th, 2019, you won the last regular season race at MIS. And I remember you and I did an interview that Friday, and you were like, man, you won the opener at Daytona that year, and you just needed to get some momentum going for the playoffs. And then the next day you pick up the win. You've got back-to-back wins now this year to close out the season. Is that the momentum that you need to go out there and run with this 4 truck during the playoffs?
I hope so. I mean, we felt like all season long we've been pretty good. We've been just missing like little things, and maybe we're just not putting the full race together. Maybe there's things that I could do a little better in the cockpit, stuff like that. So we just haven't been putting the full races together, and we feel like we should have won by now. So it's really nice to finally get these wins under us. It builds a lot of confidence. We had a ton of confidence after Knoxville going into Watkins Glen, and I think that confidence is just going to keep building going into Gateway here in a couple weeks. So, Gateway was a place that we were really good last year. We ended up third, I believe. So, we feel like we can win there, and we're trying to go for 3 in a row, and the ultimate goal is to go ahead and get a win as soon as you can. That way it locks you into the next round. You don't have to really look at points, and the other 2 races you can kind of just relax and go out there and maybe try some different setups, work on some stuff, things like that. So yeah, I mean, we're ready for these playoffs. The playoffs have bit me these last 2 seasons. So I'm hoping we can kind of get that in the rearview mirror, and I can finally make this Final Four. It seems like it comes down to that last round before the Final Four at Phoenix, and we just keep, whether it's last year we had an engine issue at Martinsville that knocked us out, and the year before we wrecked at Martinsville, and then we go to Phoenix and we struggled, and so hopefully we can get all that behind us. We've really worked on a short track program, and that seems like to be where we've kind of struggled in the past. So hopefully, all this stuff that we've been doing is an improvement, and it helps us going forward. And, we can really put it to them when playoffs come. Absolutely.
All right, man. Last one for you. The playoffs with the Truck Series, 7 total races spread out with 6 off weeks in the mix there. For you personally, is that good for extra prep, extra time, or do these 2 and 3 week off periods kill the momentum a little bit?
Well, I mean, you kind of saw it after Knoxville. I was asked the same thing. Do I think the 3 weeks off was going to kill the momentum a little bit? And we won the race, so nope. I don't think that the momentum side of it is, and having those weeks off really hurts us. I think as a team, for us, with us being a single truck team and we don't have a ton of employees, that it actually helps us because we can prepare better going into the next weekend. I feel like we're that much more ready. If you want to be 100% when you go to the racetrack, you're 20% going to the racetrack with the weeks off. I think as for our program, I can't speak for everybody else, but for our program, I think it helps us just because of the people that we have there, and we don't have as many people at the shop as some of these other bigger teams do. So any weekends off that we can get to let my guys not be thrashing and really working overly, a lot of hours throughout the week and stuff like that, I just think it makes everybody a lot more fresh when we get to the racetrack.
Fair enough. I love it. All right, man. Where can everybody follow you on social media? Give a shout out to the sponsors and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I didn't touch up on with you. United Rentals was the first inaugural race that they've sponsored in NASCAR. And United Rentals, it was called the United Rentals 176 for the truck race. And then we were sponsored by United Rentals that weekend. That's my primary sponsor. And we go out there and win the race. So that was really cool to see. We kind of, we talked about it, and, it's hard to win races as it is, but
sure,
we were like, man, it'd be cool if we go down to Watkins Glen and we win the United Rentals 176, with us being sponsored by them. And then sure enough, we go and do it. So that was really cool to see. Shiggy Hattori has been doing a lot of things to help this program. So I can't thank him enough. He's the owner of Hattori Racing Enterprises, and Mike Griechi for everything he's done. Jack Irvin, just everybody at Toyota and TRD that has put all this effort into HRE to make it what it is. So there's a lot of people I could go on and on forever to thank, but it's been a cool deal, a cool journey to be with Toyota these last 3 years, and hopefully we can just keep this relationship going.
I love it. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, huge thanks to Austin Hill for calling in. Austin, good luck in the playoffs, and hope we talk at least one more time, maybe sometime in November. Sounds good to me, man.
All righty, sounds good,
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
Then.
We'll see ya.
Yeah.
Bye. Oh, Lap Traffic Nation, how awesome is that? Austin Hill. I love getting race winners on right after they win. That's kind of like my I love that. Let's just leave it at that. All right, let's talk a little Xfinity here. Ty Gibbs, what more needs to be said? Going out there and doing what he does at road courses, apparently. Picked up the Xfinity win at the Daytona road course. He's now won here. When we look at it, this guy's just dominating when he's in that car. And we've seen that before, right? Like we've seen Kyle Busch dominate in a car, but then we've seen guys not be able to dominate when it's not Kyle Busch. Not the case here with the 54. So, this guy is going to be dangerous when that full-time ride comes and will be a championship contender that first full year, which I think is awesome for the series. AJ Allmendinger doing what AJ Allmendinger does at a road course. I don't think he's done with wins. I don't think he's done making a name for himself. He's right up there from a points perspective, right behind Austin Cindric. So I love the Xfinity series this year. I think it's great, the points battles that we're having. We've got, Austin Cindric with 4, Dinger with 2, Burton with 2, Allgaier with 2, Jeb Burton with 1. Surprised Harrison Burton doesn't have a win. Surprised Noah Gragson doesn't have a win. And then we've got some surprise players that are potentially going to make the playoffs. You got Jeremy Clements sitting 10th in points. The last few years, we're talking about Jeremy Clements sitting 14th or 15th in points and hoping that he's going to go and pull off a spoiler at one of the road courses. Jeremy Clements is in right now, which is really cool. And on top of that, we've got a bubble battle, which is great. You got Hurst in 12th, only 1 point ahead of Snyder in 13th, only 15 points ahead of Brandon Brown. Now here's where things would be awesome. Could you imagine if Josh Berry's win, as well as, if he were running for the playoffs, because now he's knocking somebody else out of the spot. I love that we do have the playoff battle. I love that it's not so top heavy in the Xfinity series this year. Yes, Austin's had his moments of greatness with 4 wins, but he's also had some pretty bad finishes as well. So I think the playing field is a little bit more even. It would be hard to pick a Final Four right now. Obviously, you'd put Austin Cindric in there. Do you put Dinger in there? Do you put Daniel Hemrick, who has been consistent but hasn't been able to finish it? And when we look at what the playoffs have required across all 3 series, you got to win. Matt Crafton's the anomaly to that, right? So that said, do you put Hemrick in your Final Four? Justin Allgaier always seems to get a late summer push. what could Allgaier do? You know, there are probably 6 or 7 guys you could make the argument for the final 4 spots. So that's going to be a fun battle to watch. Cannot wait to get Dustin Albino's take on the Xfinity Series here. Going to look at getting him back on for the J-Ski bonus show here over the next week or so and get his take on things. So, all right, I'm going to rush through things here a little bit just because there's so much more to get to, and we're already almost 35 minutes into the show. Let's talk a minute about the Cup Series, the Cup race. You know, Larson, unstoppable, right? Just kicking ass his first year back, 5 wins for the 5 car, 23 races in. Who'd have thought, right? Like, we all knew the potential was there. You know, it's not like Kyle Larson hasn't won in a Cup car before. He's done pretty well in a Cup car before, you know. It was a matter of how much is the basically year off and out of the car along with a new team going to hurt you? And the answer is none whatsoever. But if I were to offer you something, this is what I will offer you. You know, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, not saying I want this to happen, but just to reel everybody out of the clouds, so to speak, here for a minute. Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin were unstoppable last year. Neither one walked away with the championship. Only Hamlin made it to the Final 4. You know, so that's not to say Denny Hamlin can't make it to the Final 4 and finally pull it out. That's not to say William Byron can't do it. That's not to say Chase Elliott can't repeat. And that's not to say any one of these guys can't turn it up in the playoffs. And that's what I really like about it this year. I know I've said it before, is when this format first kind of came to fruition, you could almost walk your way through to the Final 4 with some playoff points, or at least the round of 8. But when we look at, you know, who's going to get to the round of 8, well, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex, Ryan Blaney. That's your top 8. Yeah, I could see all of them getting there. I could also see Brad Keselowski getting there. I could also see Alex Bowman getting in there. Hell, who knows? Kurt Busch every once in a while can surprise people. Can Kevin Harvick turn it up? And, you know, so there could be 8 to 11 guys that you could make the argument get to the final 8 in the Cup Series, which if we've got that big or that level of competition for the final 8, man, what would the Final 4 look like? You know, obviously last year we're penning Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin to the Final 4. I'd pen Kyle Larson to the Final 4. I'm pretty confident on that. Everybody else is a pencil for me, man. That's where I'm at. We got 3 races until the playoffs. I teased it at the start of the show. We're going to an Indy road course. Never ran that in Cup. Obviously, that kind of levels things out a little bit. You know, so what if we got another first-time winner there? What if someone stuns the world? You know, MIS has been Kevin Harvick's playground. You know, has Rodney saved something magical for MIS? I mean, I don't see that at the moment. I mean, Kevin's been doing better, but I don't see him coming out and dominating at MIS like he's done in years past. And then you got the wild card at Daytona. I love so much how things are shaping up here for the close of this season, because it's been incredible to this point, and it's only going to get better going forward. This is when we start having some fun. So, all right, I'll leave it with that, and let's get Anthony Alfredo on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his first appearance on the Lap Traffic podcast. He is the driver number 38 with Front Row Motorsports. It's Anthony Alfredo. Anthony, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm excited to be here for the first time.
Yes, sir, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate that. Listen, what's been going on? Off weeks, NASCAR, Olympics, time off. Have you gotten to do anything fun?
Yeah, I got to go home after the New Hampshire race and spend a lot of time with my friends and family, catch up with them. And then I actually went to the Outer Banks for the last week. So had a great time there doing a little bit of fishing and hanging out on the beach. But I'm ready to get back racing.
Absolutely. I am excited to watch some racing. I'm excited. MIS is coming up in a couple weeks, my home track, which I'll be at. Get to that here in just a minute. Anthony, first full year in Cup running with Front Row. Talk a little bit about that experience, that learning curve, and how this first year is going for you.
Well, it's been a huge learning curve as expected. Obviously, I never got to run full time in the NASCAR Truck Series or the Xfinity Series. So it was a big jump for me, but I've got great people around me at Front Row Motorsports, and, just awesome to have an owner like Bob Jenkins who believes in me, and so many great partners backing us. We've made a lot of improvements throughout the year. I think we've built a lot of great chemistry and keep getting better each and every week. So we've had an up and down year. It's been one of the most challenging, I'd say, for me, not because of the jump it is for me, but because of all of the mechanical issues we've had, and or not that there's been so many of those, but all of the issues we've had in general, whether it's been being in the wrong place at the wrong time, having, getting taken out, having a mechanical issue, stuff like that have really crippled our performance at a lot of races. Because when we don't have anything go wrong like that, we have really great races. So I'm looking forward to getting back into a little bit of a rhythm here in these upcoming weeks.
Absolutely. 2 weeks, kind of like a reset thing, which is great for a lot of guys, I could imagine. How do you not let that get into your head? Like how do you kind of help not eat or, beat yourself up over things that aren't your fault, aren't the team's fault, and stay focused each week when you strap in?
Well, to be honest, that's a great question, because I've been trying to figure that out myself this year. I haven't had so much misfortune so many weeks in a row, or just ever in a season. So it's been a hard challenge, honestly, to get back on your feet and keep fighting the next week. But we've done that, and I think that's why we've built up so much more chemistry, because we've learned to overcome weeks like that and just go fight another day. I think the biggest thing is, staying motivated, staying focused on the end goal, and, just knowing that's a part of it. Everybody has those years. Everybody, goes through that. It's just part of racing. It's a part of life. And as unfortunate as it is, like I said, you just got to keep at it. And that's when you start seeing things go your ways, when you don't give up, you keep working hard. So I've stayed motivated from that, just knowing that it's going to make the good days that much better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Veteran teammate, Daytona 500 winner, Michael Mcdowell. Michael's been on the show a handful of times. Great guy. Talk about your chemistry working with him as a teammate, and being able to lean on his shoulder a little bit.
Yeah, it's been excellent. He's been an awesome teammate for me, just because of how much experience he has. He's been in the Cup Series for such a long time and has so much other racing experience. So I've been very fortunate to lean on him and work with him on and off the track. He's a great person, off the track, and I think him and I get along really well. We kind of clicked immediately when we first met. So it's been cool to work together and push each other to be better every week.
That's great. All right, so we're headed to Watkins Glen this weekend after 2 weeks off. As far as I could tell, this is your first time running there in any of NASCAR's top series. How are you getting ready for that?
I'm actually really excited about it. I think all the work I've put in with Ford Performance on the simulator every week has paid off well, because we don't have practice or qualifying at the majority of these races. So I'm just looking forward to getting to my Benz Automotive Ford Mustang and trying to make the most of the day. It's going to be a challenge. Like I said, no practice and qualifying has probably been the most difficult obstacle to overcome all year. There hasn't been a more difficult time as a rookie in all of motorsports, to my knowledge, than last year and this year. And I was both a rookie in the Xfinity Series and now the Cup Series. So I've kind of gotten used to it. It's kind of the new normal. But like I said, that Ford Performance preparation in the simulator and my SimSeats driving simulator on iRacing in my apartment have been excellent training tools for me to just keep honing my skills, get better, and be familiar with these tracks before I get there so that we can have a good day.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because I've talked about this on the show, since last year with the, the removal, if you will, of the practices and qualifying, is that, from the veterans, we kind of have that veteran rule in the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series. If you've ran X number of years, you can only run X number of races in lower series. I'm in favor of that type of a rule for the veterans from from a practice and qualifying perspective, well, at least a practice perspective. But like you said, this is the toughest 2 years for rookies. I think you guys deserve and need to go have some practice and get some extra seat time. Is that something you could get behind? If you're, let's say, in the series less than 5 years, you get a 30-40 minute practice race weekend.
Yeah, I think anything's better than nothing at this point, right? We've had the weekends we have had a practice session. It's just a short 50-minute session, so under an hour. At the ovals, it's barely enough to get all your adjustments in, and usually not enough time to make a mock qualifying run unless your car is really good. You don't have to make many adjustments from the start of practice. But that's the same amount of time we've been given at these road courses, and that's been a huge challenge because you go to Circuit of the Americas or Road America and the lap times are well over 2 minutes. Well, by the time you leave the pits, make one lap or maybe even 2 laps, you can only make probably 3 runs by the end of practice, 3 1 or 2 lap runs for that matter. So it's pretty difficult. So I'd love to see it maybe a little bit more at those places. But like I said, being used to not having it at all, just making one lap to know everything's working the way it's supposed to, or what your car is going to do when you head down into turn 1 is nice.
Absolutely. All right, man. A couple weeks coming up here to MIS. You had a solid run there in the ARCA series last year. I think that was your first time there. It's the big 2 miles. Everyone talks about what turn 1 is like with the drop of the green flag. Are you looking forward to coming back up to the Irish Hills here in Michigan?
Yeah, Michigan's a really cool track, and I honestly believe it might be one we can have a really successful race at, just because of the way those races play out with the draft there, and the way you got to be patient. It's not quite like a super speedway race, but it's similar in the ways that they're definitely an ideal lane to be in. The traction compound they laid out could play a factor as well. So fortunately, I raced there in the NASCAR Truck Series a couple of years ago, back in 2019, and then I got to run that ARCA race there as well last year. So a little bit of track familiarity, but it'll be different in the Cup car for sure. But I'm definitely looking forward to the challenge. And like I said, I think we can make something happen there.
Awesome. I love it. All right, Anthony, tell everybody where they can follow you on social media. Shout out to sponsors, all that good stuff.
All my social media is at Anthony Alfredo, and my Twitch and TikTok is fast_pasta. And if you want to check out my website, it's anthonyalfredo.com. You could also find all the links there to stay up to date with me.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Lap Traffic Nation's huge shout out to Anthony Alfredo for calling on the show. Anthony, good luck this weekend, Watkins Glen. See you in a couple weeks at Michigan, man.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, man. All right, Lap Traffic Nation. Yes, as you could tell there, talked to Anthony before Watkins Glen. Had the opportunity to talk to him for a few minutes. Wasn't going to pass it up, and definitely wanted to get that in there. Great to have him on for the first time there. All right. Let's do a little Lap Traffic social media. Everybody, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, YouTube, Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. I rattle those off, TikTok, Twitch. I have the accounts. I haven't done much with them. You guys tell me, if you've made it this far into the show, do I need to start doing something from a TikTok perspective? Do you think that might help pick up some listeners, followers on a different platform? You guys tell me where you're at from a TikTok perspective. If you've made it this far into the show, feel free to leave a review on whatever platform you're listening to. Would love to get some feedback. Let's do some new followers. Jana at Jana Shelby Lover, NASCAR and Junior fan. Welcome to the show. No DQ at NoDQ.com, one of the best wrestling sources out there for spoilers, news, and all that good stuff. Thanks for the follow, guys. And Tommy at Magdeburg. Tommy, big Harvick and Larson fan from Pennsylvania. Welcome to the show, guys. Tell your friends all that good stuff. Don't forget to go check out the store on the website. You want some Lap Traffic merch, and you might have seen I've got free stickers and koozies. I probably mailed out over 30. That's for sure. So that's awesome. There are some new ones. You were guaranteed a new one if you sent a request from my social media thing. As it stands now, I will bring new and traditional to MIS. So if you're going to be at MIS, let me know. Let's connect. Let's do our own little Lap Traffic meetup if enough people are going to be there. And Now it's a random grab. I pre-stuff the envelopes, and that way it's just a grab, fill out the address, stick some stamps, and toss it in the mail. So who knows? You might get a new one, a limited edition, or you might get the traditional. So if you want a free koozie and some stickers, just fill out the contact page on the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. And yeah, all right. So before we get to Mr. Neudorff and the weather, let's get MIS race sponsor FireKeepers Casino's own Jim Wise on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line. I am so excited to welcome him back for his third appearance on the Lap Traffic Podcast. He is with FireKeepers Casino, who will be sponsoring the upcoming races at MIS in a couple weeks for the FireKeepers Casino 400. Welcome back to the Lap Traffic Podcast, Jim Wise. Jim, how are you, man?
Brandon, it's great to be back with you. You know, it feels very awkward having missed that June race, you know, with us moving the race down to 1 for Michigan this year and going to August. It felt kind of awkward to not be running in June, but we're real pumped up about August 22nd at 3 o'clock. I can tell you that.
I am pumped up. I'm so excited. You know, as a fan with the podcast, I mean, I've been used to going to MIS twice a year for a very long time. So yes, I understand that. Like, wait a minute, how come I haven't been to MIS yet and all that? So no, I am ecstatic. I'm excited to get back out to the track. Before we get into all that, you guys have a bunch of exciting things going on with the casino, from the second hotel opening, mobile gaming, all that good stuff. Talk about all the new stuff going on over at FireKeepers Casino.
Well, we have a huge expansion that we open on Monday the 16th, and people can be here live or stream it on Facebook or YouTube. We're going to, after we have our grand opening kind of ceremony, the king of the high wire, Nick Woliver, will walk on a high wire across from Tower 1 to Tower 2. It's kind of symbolic of the transition of the property getting even bigger and better. And that's going to be a very interesting thing. He's going to be 200 feet above the ground. He's going to walk more than a football field in length on a wire that's about a nickel's worth wide. So that's pretty amazing. No harnessing or anything like that. He's doing what the great Woliver family has done for the better part of 200 years. So that's on Monday, the 16th. And, you know, we come through that. That means our hotel's open. It means our new high-limit gaming area is open. It means our Navy signature restaurant has moved to a brand-new location in the base of the hotel tower, even bigger and more upscale. We've got more things along with that, another Gabi coffee location. So that all is open then. And then we really gear up for Michigan Speedway and the FireKeepers Casino 400 on the 22nd. That's awesome. I love it. And if anybody is in the Michigan area, whether it's traveling through for race weekend or any other time you're driving across 94, you know, take that exit off, run into FireKeepers. It's great. The wife and I go out there quite a bit. Nebi restaurant is absolutely incredible. I've done a couple nice dinners there. It's great. Make sure you go check it out. Jim, let's talk about this real quick. Speaking of race weekend and all that, for a few years, the trophy for FireKeepers was that iconic spinning dice. And then last year, you guys switched to the slot machine. And I got to say, I love them both. And being a casino, I think that gives a unique, creative avenue for a winner's trophy. You know, we've seen some pretty, you know, normal ones, if you will, but I think being the casino gives you guys some flexibility there. So what can you leak what we might see this year in the winner's trophy?
Rob, we always like to make some little changes, and I have to give tip of the cap to Michigan Speedway and the trophy makers, because we'll come up with a concept and ship it off to them, and they come back with just some always interesting concepts. They're great to work with. We make numerous changes. I think we're going to stay with the slot machine foundation, but there's some different pieces to it this year. So we really enjoyed the dice. They were able to move, and we thought that was kind of over the top. Last year we went to the slot, but so few people, you had to watch it online, and
maybe you saw the ceremony after when Kevin Harvick was given the trophy, but I think we're going to stay kind of in that slot machine vein, at least for this year. And then we'll see how much do we want to change it? Do we drive those poor trophy makers crazy again with a whole new design or not?
I love it. Okay, so you're back this year. I think you guys have a couple year extension on the partnership there. I know you've talked about it before, but for the new listeners and all that, what makes this partnership work so well for you guys with MIS?
For us, it's a couple different things. Our prime market is kind of a wide-ranging market. We draw in guests from Illinois and Indiana and Ohio who either are traversing the 94 for some reason, for work, for family, for whatever. And so therefore, more so than a lot of casinos, we really have a legitimate wide market. And so many people come in from those states for this race that it gives us a chance to stay very relevant in their minds and to stay, top of mind for them and see that we're a major player in this region. So, that kind of relevance is extremely important to us. We love the drama and energy of the race. We love the way Michigan Speedway caters to its guests. They have great service. And, Rick Brenner does a terrific job making sure that everybody who comes to MIS has a great experience. So the whole thing kind of makes sense for us. We also like investing in projects that are in the state of Michigan and keep our money in the state and with Michigan events. And so we started smaller as originally, probably 6-7 years ago, we started as a poll day sponsor, and it's just grown from there, and we love it. So we're in for till further notice. Nobody has to worry about there not being a major sponsor for the NASCAR race. We're in, and we're locked and loaded for well into the future. That's
awesome. I love everything that you just said there. For the fans, besides sign presence at the track, I know the FireKeepers has their setup there in the Fan Plaza area. What can fans expect from FireKeepers at the track?
Well, we always have a game for people to play, and we'll be able to certainly get, people can come in and give us their email and a little bit of information, and we have great products to have fun and give away. This year is radically different, though, because, of course, the state of Michigan now has iGaming Live, and we have a great sign-up offer for people. You can live in another state and still sign up for our iGaming product. You can only play when you're in the state of Michigan, but if you're going to be there for 3 or 4 days, we'd love to see people sign up for that. We have 2 $500 bonus matches for people on their initial sign up, and that means we'll match your first deposit up to $500 in casino credit, and then your first sportsbook wager, we'll match that up to $500 also. So we think that's a real aggressive offer. So we've got all the normal fun, but we're going to be reminding people, if you sign up, I think we've got something like 75 different wagering opportunities related to the FireKeepers Casino 400. So whether it is top 3 or will this person beat this person or other winners like that, stage winners, you name it, we've got tons of different wagering opportunities for people for the FireKeepers Casino 400. Those will start posting Wednesday and Thursday of race week.
That's excellent. I am all about that. Lap Traffic Nation knows all about that. Speaking of race week, Saturday night at FireKeepers, you guys have a meet and greet, and the driver, I'll let you say who it is a past champion. So who's coming to FireKeepers for a meet and greet Saturday night?
You know what? He's a 2-time past champion, in fact. So we're thrilled to have him. We tried to have him last year, and it didn't obviously work out. We just couldn't do it. And so we said, well, can we just extend this contract and we'll take a look at it in 2021? And he's just a super nice guy, and that is Joey Logano. So we're thrilled to have Joey Logano. And, the drivers' schedules now are just different also in a COVID and post-COVID world.
Yep.
So they came back to us and said, listen, if you don't mind, you need to understand he's not coming in like on Wednesday the way he used to. So we used to run these events on Thursday night. Always, for years, people would say, no, wait, they do it on Thursday night. Not this year. We're doing it on Saturday night, the 21st, from 4 to 6 p.m. Outside of the Cabaret Lounge in the casino. You do have to be 21 years of age or older, but we're going to have the trophy and Joey there, and people can come and to have a photo taken or take their own with their iPhone or Android. And it's just a great opportunity to meet a two-time champion, and we're thrilled to have him.
That's excellent. And speaking of all of this, so we can wrap with this. Lap Traffic Nation, FireKeepers Casino has given the show a pair of tickets to give away to the FireKeepers 400. So make sure you are following on social media to see the rules, details for that ticket giveaway. Make sure you come out to FireKeepers. You guys know it's my home track. I absolutely love it. Go check out FireKeepers. Get a hold of me on social media. I will be there. I want to meet you guys as well. Maybe I can even schedule something with FireKeepers and be at the FireKeeper setup at a particular point in time over the weekend. So, Jim,
we'd love that.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. We appreciate all that you do and all that your Lap Traffic Nation fans do. So we'd love to have you. You let us know, and we'd be thrilled to see you at our booth.
Absolutely. I think we can make that happen. Lap Traffic Nation, huge thanks to Jim Wise with FireKeepers Casino for calling in. Jim, stay sane over these next couple weeks. Good luck with the opening of the hotel expansion there, and look forward to seeing you at MIS, man.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing you there.
Take care. We'll see you. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, great to talk again with Jim Wise from FireKeepers Casino. Cannot wait to get out there again in a couple weeks, as I've hyped up all show long. But right now, joining me back on the line, it's been a minute since he's been on. You can follow him on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN, along with Aaron Studwell at Race Weather. It's Brian Neudorff. Sir, good evening. How are you?
How are you guys doing? No, doing well. It's nice and warm here across the Ohio Valley to this while we're talking and doing this podcast.
Yes, it's nice and toasty up here in Metro Detroit as well.
You mean it's not snowing?
It is not snowing, thankfully. It feels like it's been that long, man. How you been?
Doing well. We had the Olympics, and we had Watkins Glen, which is a great track. Anybody who hasn't ever been to Watkins Glen should really go. That was actually where I got despite the fact that I'm from Indianapolis area, growing up, and I've been to Indianapolis 500s. My first big racetrack was the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. My first NASCAR race was at Watkins Glen.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, when
That's
I worked
awesome.
in the Rochester area. So that was, and how fitting for the NASCAR weatherman. And I think this was in the early days before I became NASCAR weatherman. I was in that process, and I met Jeff Gluck, but it ran on a Monday.
Oh, wow. Yeah, one of those.
So
That'll
I got
happen.
rained out. I got rained out on my first NASCAR race.
No kidding. Oh, that's crazy. We've had Olympics, you've had travel and luggage issues and all that, and it's
it has. You're right. It has been a while because I literally had a migraine the last time I was supposed to be on. At the very last minute, I was supposed to go on, and I'm like, I can't do this. That was with Aaron.
Yeah, for the big 250, you snubbed me, but that's okay. I understand. No, just kidding. Oh man, but all right. We're headed to Indy. It's your home track. I know you've got, whether it's an Indy 500 or a Brickyard for the 400. I know you got a story. What's one of your favorite Indianapolis stories?
My favorite story and this is a NASCAR one, so I can't remember what year it was, but I was part of the social media garage, and I think it was also with possibly NASCARgasm as well. But there were a few other people that I was part of the social media garage when they had it. Jimmy Johnson won that race. But they had a lot of us in there, and Chevy was sponsoring a Q&A for some social media people. And Tony Stewart, while he was still with Chevy, was at one of the things. And I introduced myself as the NASCAR weatherman. It was a Friday. It was raining for some of the races. And so I introduced myself, and Tony Stewart looked at me and goes, "Oh, so you're the jackass who did this," or something like that. So I got called a jackass by Tony Stewart. And that was when I officially became a member of the NASCAR media.
I mean, that's kind of like
it's a rite of passage.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the exact phrase I was looking for. Yes, absolutely. Like, I've made it when Tony Stewart calls me a jackass. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. I imagine you're not going to get out there. I know work's been crazy for you. Do you have a track or a race in mind that you would be memorable for you to be your first one back?
I think I like since I'm in the Ohio Valley and I'm able to get to a lot of places. Bristol's close enough for me to travel to. So Bristol
cool.
would definitely be one. I've got some friends who are meteorologists in the Knoxville, Bristol, and also in Bristol. So to go with them would be a lot of fun. Getting back to Indy would be kind of cool, especially obviously with the they're doing the road course, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I love India. I just got a place in my heart. But I also kind of think to myself, ever since the Goodyear debacle with the tires and stuff like that,
yes,
it's really hurt the race, and the design of the cars have hurt at that track. It's got a history, but it's just not the same. But I will say, and I did think about that particular race, and I did think about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway probably a week ago when I pulled a Jeff Burton on a poor bird driving to work one day. So anybody who knows what I'm talking about, Burton hit two birds down the straightaway on a restart. And it went poof. It's kind of like now sadly, as a baseball fan, the first thing I thought about was Randy Johnson throwing the ball and hitting the bird.
Yeah. I remember that.
But then because of the fact that I was in a car, I immediately went back to that memory of the Brickyard and Burton hitting a bird. So yeah, the poor bird did not get out of the way.
No,
it's not my fault. I was bigger and I was.
I hope that the fans and NASCAR give the Oval of Indy another shot with the new car, right? Like, I get the road course appeal right now. It's hot, it's strong, the fans love it, the racing's been great, whether it's traditional road course like Sonoma, Watkins Glen, or the Roval at Charlotte, or now, the Indy road course. I get it, and I'm all about it, and I imagine it's going to be a great race. But I hope maybe whether it's next year with the new car, whatever, I hope they rotate at some of these places where they can and have the option to rotate, like, hey, what's hot right now? Oh, it's the road course. Okay, well, let's switch. What's hot right now? Oh, it's intermediates. Okay, let's go back to the Roval. I hope NASCAR takes advantage of the situation that they're in to kind of test and see what happens with the new car, at least in a year or two, and to go back, because NASCAR at the Brickyard was huge. I think some of the new fans and all that, just have these memories of recent years of TV, just showing so many empty spots in the grandstands and across the front stretch there. And it's like, that's not what NASCAR at Indy used to be.
No,
so
and it's
it's
really not a fair comparison. I mean, it's not, and I think too many times NASCAR fans or the media who doesn't understand the sports try to compare it to the Indianapolis 500, and you just can't compare the two. No. I mean, that track is designed to hold the people it holds for the Indianapolis 500, not necessarily for the Brickyard. And of course, the novelty of the initial, for me, okay, I was an IndyCar guy. All right, my family has connections to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and to all that stuff, and so for me, that seeing the 94, first race and all that stuff, to me, that was really got NASCAR on my radar. Yeah, pun intended for the meteorologist, but still, granted, it would take still probably another 7 years or so before I truly got into the sport itself. But I started paying attention. At least I was paying attention to the Brickyard when it came. When the NASCAR cars came to the track, I was still paying attention, probably even more than when they hosted the F1 race.
Sure.
So, for me, it put NASCAR on the map for me as a sports fan. So there was some definitely there. And in Indianapolis, I mean, I drive around here and I still see, even in southern Indiana and across the central Indiana, of course, tracks are nearby. You can get to these races. You can get to these places. And there are fans. They love racing, period. But I hear what you're saying. Maybe they need to do split. And I still think this. And I'm going to say this about baseball. I love baseball. But I think the season's too long.
Sure.
I think NASCAR races may be too long, and maybe the season. I think there should be some endurance races. Don't get me wrong. I don't think we should take away some of the long, like the Coke 600. I don't think we should get rid of those races, but maybe instead only have a handful of really long races, and then go back to. Because I think to myself, I look at my local short track. I happen to pass it, every once in a while on 65, and it's full. It's full of people.
Yeah.
Maybe NASCAR's missing the mark here. I think places where short track racing is healthy, maybe NASCAR needs to look at that and be like, okay, why are these places that are still going strong? Why are short track on a Saturday night doing really well?
So many options now that NASCAR's got more control of tracks and the schedule to play around with things, which is awesome. All right, man. Well, let's fast forward here to the future. And what are we looking at weather-wise for this weekend?
You're asking me to predict the future? If I have to.
And throw some lotto numbers in there while you're at it.
Yeah, okay. So generally speaking, as we look at the early start, I think overall the weekend looks pretty good. In fact, it should compare to other August races with NASCAR. You're looking at like maybe low 80s. So it should be very nice this weekend going into the start. But Friday is if I had to pick a wet day, it could very well be Friday with showers and thunderstorms. Obviously, everybody's going to tell me they can race in the rain, yes, but we learned with Watkins Glen you have that lightning situation. And it is, for everybody who still don't know, it's an 8-mile radius. Okay, any lightning within the 8-mile radius, they shut down. And then they have to wait 30 minutes once that lightning passes before they can get started again.
And with the road course, that 8-mile radius actually expands, because if you're at the farthest east or north part of that track and it hits, then now you're tacking on that 8 miles from that further stretch of the track versus just your 2-mile oval. So it's actually kind of a bigger than an 8-mile radius at a road course. Granted, Roval at Indy, it's going to be confined, but that's why we ran into that issue at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind with this weekend. But I think overall, now obviously that stuff could change depending on timing of a front moving through. That's kind of what we're watching, not only in Indy but here in the Ohio Valley. A front coming through that's going to cool things off. It always comes down to timing. When you're this far out, sometimes timing is still a wild card. But I think generally speaking, it's been pretty consistent. So once we get past some of the warm conditions near 90 on Friday with possible showers and thunderstorms, a much better weekend awaits us, especially for Sunday. Overall. Now, I'm going to be working a weird schedule. So for anybody who listens and follows me, I'll try to do a lot of stuff early before work, but I will be doing the overnight shift. So I may do something in the morning before I go to bed at like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then do something after I wake up because I have to work at like 11:30 midnight. So those are all weird things for my schedule. So, and if I do post something, I may even schedule something to get posted, but I may not have a lot of updates. But I don't see Sunday being something that I'm going to have to update constantly. I may miss the race, but generally speaking, I think everything's good up until about Friday. Friday, and then everything after that is good.
Excellent. I love it. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you follow Brian on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN, along with race weather. Aaron Studwell, who'll be back next week. All right, man, great to catch up with you, and look forward to talking to you soon, man.
All right, sounds good.
All right, man, we'll see you. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, great to catch up with Brian there. And, hey, let's keep things rolling. It's time for this week's Lucky Dog Lap Down Picks. You guys know the drill. Tweet your picks after race weekend, and I'll read them on the show. My lucky dog, got to be the 5 team. Kyle Larson, 5 wins. He proved he could win at the road courses earlier in the year. Backed it up with another win this weekend at Watkins Glen. A lap down, it's got to go to Brad Keselowski and Team Penske. Just a horrible team effort there by everyone. Some bad luck and some things just not go their way. But there you have it for me. Let's get to your tweeted responses. Scott at 1985 Wagner's Lucky Dog. Team Hendrick, 2-week break, changed nothing. Great. Hashtag LT Fantasy Weekend for me. Lap down, Team Penske, breaks didn't give them a break. I like that, sir. Nicely done. Brian at Stormin B81, Lucky Dog, actually was a great race all around and another 1-2 Hendrick finish. Lap down, Keselowski and all his issues. Andrew at Racing Cants used to close out the waiver round hotline. Well, the easy lap down is Xfinity and Comcast for my TV feed freezing throughout the race. Eddie at Eddie_EG3 Lucky Dog. Ty Gibbs, dude knows how to get it done. Another win against Cindric and Allmendinger. Lap down, Team Penske led by Keselowski's issues. Janet at Froggy16 Lucky Dog to the whole field. for a solid race with no actual wrecks, induced cautions. Lap down Suarez. Can he catch some consistent luck? Matt at Camper News Net used to kick off the Wave Around Hotline. Lucky Dog. Chase Elliott for coming from the back of the field for a second place finish. Additional Lucky Dog NASCAR after 2 weeks of the Olympic breaks, and no lap down for Matt. Chris at USMC_NASCAR Fire. Lucky Dog Larson for winning yet another race. This kid is a beast. A lap down Chase Elliott's team for pushing the limits too far and causing their driver to have to battle from the rear. All right, those are your Lucky Dog picks there. Let's close this thing out with some lap traffic fantasy and a special guest in CJ Woliver. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, it is time to close this thing out with a little lap traffic fantasy. Just a reminder, get your picks in by 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. Keep the Twitter interaction up using hashtag LTFantasy. There's only 3 more race weekends to go to set the playoff grid. And to close this thing out tonight, joining me on the line, making his 5th appearance on the Lap Traffic Podcast. He didn't have week high, but he had second week high, just 2 points behind my uncle with 154 points this week. It is none other than CJ Woliver. CJ, what's up, brother? How are you, man?
Hey, man, thank you for having me back. And I tell you, nobody is as good at coming in second as CJ. So I'm glad that I could be the fill-in guy for
Excellent.
you today.
Yes, no,
I'm glad to be on, bud.
154 to 156. I mean, you're right there for sure.
Yeah,
that's a Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch finish right there. 156, 154.
I'll take it all day.
Well, man, what's new? It's been a minute since we've caught up on the podcast and all that good stuff. How's life, man?
Things are going great. Still covering NASCAR and the everything from the house. Waiting to hopefully be able to get back to the track, but all the feeds and stuff we've had so many exciting races and finishes. It's been great. Glad that we went back racing. 2 weeks off, man. I know that I'm not on the road, so that when I say, man, I don't like being off for that long, that the people that are on the road right now would probably like to pull my hair out. But I missed it, man. We went to the beach. We actually went to Destin, Florida, and the water down there is beautiful. And the whole time I just kept thinking, man, it smells like Daytona around here. So it was making me miss NASCAR.
Absolutely.
But glad to be back in it, and Watkins Glen's always awesome. So definitely enjoying everything that we're getting to experience right now in the sport.
Yes, and we're, like I said a minute ago, we got 3 races to go in the regular season. Here we are still sitting. Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin without wins. We've got 2 guys outside the top 16. We've got a teammate battle possibly for the final spot. This is everything you could have written up for a culmination to a NASCAR regular season. There's so much excitement scattered throughout the entire standings that are fun stories to watch.
Absolutely. And it's like the Austin Dillon stuff. Just all of a sudden finds himself outside of the playoffs. Bob Pockrass actually posted a video to Twitter this morning, an interview. It was a Zoom session with members of the media with Austin Dillon. He said, we're not panicking about it. We're not worried about it. We're going to, do our best to get there, because I think sometimes the best strategy for when you have to make things happen is continue what you've been doing, right? So obviously they've had a strong season for that 3-team comparatively with previous seasons, that the 3-team has had, and RCR has been strong. So I think just the teams that need to get in, I really don't think you change anything. You continue to go and try to win every weekend. You try to be as fast as you can every weekend, and hopefully that things keep working. When you change stuff up, sometimes I think that messes you up. So that's sort of preluding my picks, and maybe explains a little bit why I'm picking who I'm picking, because I need to make the playoffs too. I'm so close.
We need you in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah.
Let's recap this past week here. So I had Hunter, Dinger, Chase Elliott, picked up 136. You had Larson, Dinger, John Hunter for 154. You picked up a bonus point too, so that'll even help you as well as you get into the playoffs. Our top 10 right now, segment 2, Still in first place is Steven with 1253. Two-way tie for second, Glenn Atkins, Henry Fletcher. Stephanie Borges is in third. Matt Camper in fourth. Joe Scapino in fifth with 1155. Chad Robbins sixth with 1148. Jeff Beaven in seventh. Kristen Haglund in eighth, along with Richard Cravens. Jeff Kunkadal and Matthew Miles in ninth. And wrapping out the top 10, segment 2, Jess Rose with 1,116. Bonus points, Henry Fletcher is killing it with 9, John Entwistle with 8, Eric Soder with 7, and then we got a long list of people with 6, 5, 4, 3. So the bonus points are there. If you make the playoffs, those will carry over for you guys. And now the cumulative standings, the big one. In first with 2,382, Henry Fletcher. Second with 2,315, Glenn Atkins. In third is Steve, 2,308. John Entwistle in fourth with 2,300. Yours truly, the Professor, in fifth with 2291. Jeff Beaven in sixth. Brad Carnes in seventh. Pete Curvin in eighth. Jess Rose in 9. Chad Robb in 10th. Michael from the Blind Spot Pod in 11th. Matt Camper in 12th. Stephanie in 13th. Josh Neal in 14th. Carson Haglund 15th. Charles LaPearl is currently in 16th, but our segment 1 winner, Fred Leclerc, who is outside the top 16, gets the automatic bid. So right now, Charles is out, so he's got some work to do. And then, CJ, man, you got 31 points. You're sitting there in 23rd. So you got 3 weeks to do it, brother.
I tell you, I'm not sure anybody's going to catch that leader right now, man. No. And as you go through the rundowns there, we've still got the playoffs coming up. So I guess
yes.
But man, the picks some of those players in the top 3 and 4 have been making this year, it's incredible. So
absolutely,
all of us that are currently on the outside looking in, I think we've got the deck stacked against us right now, but I've got a strategy that I'm going to continue playing, because Larry Mack always says if you can manipulate and bend the rules, stay within the rules, but manipulate and bend them to your favor, you got to do it. So that's one other thing we were talking about before we started recording, which is another thing of me trying to own up to my picks, because I can't afford to be creative right now, man. I just can't.
All right. Well, I'm going to preview this here real quick, and you've got some special guests that are going to make the picks. So you get them ready. Yeah. I'm going to preview here real quick, and we'll get to some picks. Sound good?
That sounds great.
All right, Lap Traffic Fantasy players, we are headed to Indy, where Kevin Harvick has dominated the oval for the last few years. But hey, we're running the road course. And that's right, back-to-back road course races. So when you look at trends, we got to look at road courses, and more particular, the Rovals, if you will, which look no further than Chase Elliott. But of our active players, there are less than 10 players that have Chase Elliott available. Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin are thin for use this week as well. Do you double down on Kyle Larson? What about Christopher Bell, who might be out to get some revenge this weekend? Who kisses the bricks? We'll find out this weekend. But first, it is time for our picks. CJ, who do you got with you making some picks with you?
So, coming up, my nephew has a birthday. This is my brother's oldest son. He's going to be turning, what, I think 43, 47? How old are you going to be? How old are you going to be? You can say it. Say it. How old are you going to be? Okay. Well, he got nervous out of nowhere. He's going to be 5.
Awesome.
And typically he jumps in with those answers. But my picks for this weekend, I'm just going to be honest with you, bud. I'm going to go with the exact same lineup that I had for Watkins Glen, because I've got to make up these points. And that rule that I said I was going to be manipulating, Kyle Larson wasn't in the playoffs last year. I do not Chase Elliott available. The obvious cut pick for me is who? What's his name? Kyle Larson. What's his name? Okay, Lane has completely shut on
he's out,
which is fine. We can edit that part out, I guess.
Yes.
But we can cut that in post. But for my picks, I'm gonna stay with my lineup. I'm gonna continue picking Kyle Larson. I'm going to pick AJ Allmendinger to get this done this weekend, because obviously, why would you not? And I'm also going to stick with John Hunter Nemechek. I said it in January. I think that boy is your 2021 Truck Series champion. I'm going to continue to back him in my fantasy pick.
Yes, you did. You absolutely said that. I am going with I'm rolling back-to-back weeks with Dinger, but I'm going to get a little cute with my cup pick just because I've not been able to capitalize on the Larson train. Every time I've taken him, it's not worked out for me, so I'm not looking at Larson. I've got Ryan Blaney sitting there for me, so I am going to roll with Ryan Blaney this week. I think he's done well at inaugural Roval races, so I'm going to see.
And I am all for people being creative and with their picks right now, because Kyle Larson sitting with 5 wins on the season. He continues to challenge Chase Elliott. I think there's kind of a current debate right now at, who is the current road course king for NASCAR?
Yeah.
Who is the current road course king at Hendrick Motorsports? And I think there are valid points for both of those drivers. I am going to say, if I had Chase Elliott available in my lineup, I used him. The first race I had a chance to use Chase Elliott for this segment, I used him.
Yep.
But I think if I had him available in my lineup, I think I'd take him, because I think Chase Elliott wins this weekend. But we've seen so many times, we've seen these guys all running up toward the front. I mean, obviously at Watkins Glen, it was Larson first, Elliott second.
Could you imagine if we had gotten a late race caution and watched those two battle it out side by side for 2 laps, man?
I was excited for my fantasy team, but for every other non-selfish reason, I did want to see that caution. I was like, let's settle it, boys. Because after Larson's win at the Road Series and at the road course, and Bob Pockrass got on Fast Thoughts, and he asked the question. It was Fast Thoughts. One of the cool things about that segment with Bob is he talks immediately after the race. I mean, it is what it sounds like it is. It's Fast Thoughts. So a lot of times it's reactionary, it's analytical, it's that sort of thing. And he said in that video, not necessarily answering the question, but asking, is Kyle Larson NASCAR's current road course king? And there were a lot of people that what? Like, you see Chase Elliott with he's so good on road courses. But again, I think it's a valid question. I was so excited for the potential battle to settle it at the end at Watkins Glen. I would have been okay with that.
Yeah,
all right, let's figure it out. They're the class of the field. Let's see who gets it done. But, obviously that's not what happened. But, hey, maybe we get it this weekend.
Absolutely. Oh, that'd be awesome, man. I would love it. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, huge thanks to CJ Woliver for calling in, filling in for this week's fantasy. CJ, where can everybody follow you and what you got going on over at Fox?
As always, you can find all of the work content at NASCAR on Fox, blue check mark across the board. You can find all our stuff there. And actually, as I was talking about Bob there a second ago, Bob had a rare off weekend for Watkins Glen. Had some family time, I believe, that he was going to. Went to a wedding. So we didn't have Bob, which absolutely makes a difference. But Bob will be back for this weekend as we go racing on the road course in Indy. So you can find all of that content at NASCAR on Fox. I'm CJ Woliver. That's Oliver with a W. You're going to see a lot of Star Wars and Tiny Dog pictures, but a lot of NASCAR stuff too. So come follow me if it sounds fun.
I love it. All right, man. Great to catch up with you. We'll talk with you soon, man.
Thank you so much for having me, buddy.
Yeah, we'll see you, brother. All right, Lap Traffic Nation. Great to talk to CJ. That is going to do it for episode 252. Look at me getting things done. 5 big guests, talking racing, lucky dogs, the weather. 5 guests, and it's done in under 90 minutes. After 252, I might be getting the hang of it. All right, that is going to do it. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, YouTube, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. Huge thanks to Rick Brenner from MIS, Jim Wise from FireKeepers, Austin Hill with Hattori Racing, Anthony and Alfredo with Front Row Motorsports, Brian Neudorff, and of course CJ Woliver from Fox. Jeff Striegel is back next week. Back-to-back weeks is Jeff Striegel. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya.